what people will do, in my opinion, wrong, because it just slows them down too much, is they begin from tunes rather than trying to learn what are the skills that we're supposed to know. This would be interesting to know. How many people are comfortable playing tunes in the key of E flat without screwing up? Plenty of no's, fine. A little bit of okay-ish, yes. Learning now, plenty of no's, some okays. So here's what we'll do in that case. We'll take a tune in E flat, we'll see why it might be intimidating, and then we're going to convert it to C and see if it's less intimidating, and the kind of things that you should know if you're learning tunes from the position of language rather than read, remember, memory. Try and play from beginning to end all the time, make the same mistakes, never get fluent, never improvise. So here is Taking a Chance on Love in the key of E flat. It's an A tune. We've got the first A on screen and then part of the second A, right? So let's just focus on that first A. I see all kinds of things. If you look at that first A section, those first two lines, does it, because you're not used to the key of E flat, does it look like a mess of chords and no particular rhyme or reason to those chords? Or does it look organized to you? Let's see what's going on. In any key, if I go like this, little circle just means diminished. 1625. People have heard of 1625 before, I'm sure. 1625 in the key of C. If you haven't heard of that terminology before, you've heard that before, right? We get that all the time in tunes. Why might we get a sharp 1 diminished in any key or in any tune or in this progression? Because, look, if this is in the key of C, then this would normally be A minor or A7. Going to make it an A7, D minor 7, G7 for our 2-5, right? However, if I take my A7 and put an extension on it, I know a lot of people are going to call that a flat 9. For me, it's a C sharp diminished over an A7 shell, bottom note and top note, what we call a voicing 1 on jazz scales. That leads to D minor 7, as people are saying. And so sometimes we get that A7. So yes, we get the C sharp because it's the dominant of D minor. Oops. So it will take us there. And sometimes we get this sound. You've heard that before. You've heard this before. This is just the A7 without the A, right? And that's why you get what's called a sharp 1 diminished. So in the key of C, probably that wouldn't catch out a lot of people. I think most of you would be fine with that. If you're enjoying this lesson, would you please do me a favor and give it a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when I upload new content. And if it's time to level up your playing, then come and see us on Jazz Skills. More about that at the end. For now, let's get back to the lesson. If we know how to do that in E flat, then why should we be intimidated when the tune's in E flat, right? So what would that be in E flat? Let's see. In E flat, we would say something like, let me put the E flat chords maybe below. So in E flat, clearly we'd get E flat as our chord 1. Now, our dominant would be C7, the 6th of E flat. To turn it into a diminished, we'll see in a minute, we'd get F minor 7 as our second chord. B flat 7 is the 5th chord of E flat. So far, we've got E flat on 1. F minor is 2. There's our 2. G minus 3, A flat major is 4, B flat 7's 5, C minor is normally 6, but sometimes we play C7, D minor 7 flat 5 is 7, and then back to E flat, right? Okay, now if we take C7 and extend it, we normally put that flat 9 on it before it goes to an F minor. We have reasons for this. We go into this in lots of detail on Jazz Skills. This is a taste. Takes us to F minor, right? So it's the E diminished that extends our C7. And that's the sharp 1 of E flat, right? So if we're going to go the diminished route, it'll be E diminished like that. So now we have E flat 6 or major 7, E diminished, F minor 7, B flat 7. And if we then go back to my tune that's in E flat, there's my first A section. Here's the point. There's my sharp 1 diminished. There's my 2-5 in E flat. There's another 2-5-1 in E flat. And then we get some other stuff, all right? Jazz Skills members, you'll know this. This is 2-5 to our 6th degree. What do you see on this line now? Long progression to the dominant, which is this whole thing that you see very often. So this is all figure-outable stuff, right? And then we get what we call a quick turnaround. This is a 3-6-2-5. It's going to get a bit messy. Let me do it. I don't know where. 3, 6, dominant, 2, 5. What we call a quick turnaround because it all happens in one bar. What people will do, in my opinion, wrong, because it just slows them down too much, is they begin from tunes and then work backwards. They might go, all right, so I want to play this tune, rather than trying to learn what are the skills that we're supposed to know. You're supposed to know 1-6-2-5, where the A is sometimes a 7, dominant 7th. You're supposed to know that sometimes that's a diminished on the C sharp, but it has the same function. You're supposed to be able to do that in some other keys. E flat would be great. It's not one of the first keys we learned, but it would be great. Let me do all of them. So there's 1, normal 6, 2, 5, blue moon, right? This time I'll take the sharp 1 diminished. 3-6-2-5. So if you know some 1-6-2-5 variations and your tune just goes 1-6-2-5, 1-6-2-5, then you can vary them, right? And it can end up with stuff like this. Let me first play what you would have when I'm not talking. But it's the same stuff. This time with some variations of 1-6-2-5s. 3-6. 3 dominant, 6 dominant. 2 dominant, 5. Let's take this one. That's a variation as well, right? Because I know a couple of you asked, how do I get into things like substituting and doing different kinds of chords in places? That's how. It's by knowing your ingredients more than you know tunes, right? That's the secret. Hope you found some opportunities to use this in your playing. If you'd like to learn more, then consider joining us on Jazz Skills. We have things for everybody at every level, including a developing fluency course to get you fluent in the language to begin with, improvisation, chord movements, voicing, accompanying, you name it. Support from me, plus a vibrant community as well. Hope to see you there. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.